Welcome to the second part of our discussion. And in this part, what we are going to discuss is all about the analysis of our lipids. Okay? So first things first, is definitely the first that we are going to discuss in terms of analysis is the one that is included in our pre-analytical phase of examination or examination phase, which includes your specimen collection. Well, aside from specimen collection, it also includes the way how you, what you call this, how you greet your patient, how you introduce yourself, and the manner of the collection. But the most important thing to consider in our pre-analytical phase in terms of lipid analysis is, well, definitely our sample or the sample collection. Now, for sampling collection, definitely the sample of choice for that is no other than our blood, no, that contains the serum, or we can also use our plasma. Now, take note, guys, that the regular diet must be maintained for at least 3 weeks prior to the blood sample. Why is it that blood sample or diet must be regular or must be the same thing for at least 3 weeks prior to the blood sample? Because if if someone is fond of eating food rich in rich in cholesterol, no, rich in lipids, and all of the sudden, since malapit na siyang magpa-test, ay bigla niyang tinigil for a couple of weeks, for almost 3 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks, then it could affect, no, the level of the triglycerides or cholesterol or lipids in the body. Okay? And aside from the at least 3 weeks or regular diet for at least 3 weeks, one of the best thing to consider is the fasting state. Now, for lipid analysis, I want you to take note again. For lipid profile includes our triglycerides, cholesterol, LDL, and HDL. Of the four parameters that we could have, or of the four analytes we have in our lipid profile, it is the triglycerides that requires our fasting of at least 12 hours. However, ito na po, however, no, cholesterol not significantly different in fasting or non-fasting state. Meaning to say, no, yung cholesterol analysis daw can be tested whether as the patient ay nag-fasting or hindi. But the problem on that is, remember guys, that our blood lipid rises within 2 hours after meal and may peak several hours later, which could lead into high level of our chylomicrons. Okay, and then it if it has a high level of chylomicrons, what will happen ay ano? It will lead into difficulty in the interpretation. Okay? So kaya sometimes, no, nire-require na rin ang mag-fasting for cholesterol. Now, according to Rodriguez, which will be shared to you also later, no, in the next succeeding slides, according to Rodriguez, Rodriguez is the dean of the Trinity University of Asia and one of the well-known national lecturers for chemistry. And according to Dr. Rodriguez, Maria Teresa Rodriguez, no, cholesterol may be tested from non-fasting or fasting blood sample. However, fasting sample has a little difference from non-fasting state. Okay? So yun. So those are the things that explains, no, explain if we have to use fasting or non-fasting blood sample. At the end of the day, you can test cholesterol as non-fasting or you can also test cholesterol as fasting. Well, it depends on the protocol of the laboratory where you are going to work. Okay? So, if their laboratory requires a fasting sample for cholesterol, then it should be the same fasting time as to our triglycerides, which is 12 hours. Why 12 hours? Because this is the time wherein our triglycerides or our lipids is started to normalize. Ang sabi natin, blood lipids rises within 2 hours after meal and there are surge, no? There are peak levels no? All throughout, several hours later. So, pwedeng tumaas ulit. That's why at 12 hours, it is expected that our triglyceride level is now on a normal state. Ngayon, like what I've said, no, if we are going to test our blood lipids or lipid analysis from non-fasting state, there might be a high level of chylomicrons, okay, which may produce an interference in other testing procedures. Okay. Now, there are some medications that can also interfere our lipid analysis. What are those? Oral contraceptives, no? Antihypertensive drugs. Well, definitely, since the action of at our antihypertensive drugs is to normalize, no? It could also lead to the interference into the analysis. What else? Some vitamins, no? Most especially the lipid soluble vitamins. Okay, it can also alter the values of our lipid analysis. Well, ideally, uh, you should not. No, you should not consume uh, these medications prior to testing. Well, if you are a hypertensive, then we cannot discourage you to take your antihypertensive drugs. Well, aside from that, ethanol consumption is also restricted for at least 2 days prior to testing. Why? Because ethanol can what all this ethanol can cause increase in serum triglycerides. Okay, take note. Ethanol can cause, okay, increase in serum triglycerides. Now, I have here illustrations that you might wonder, what are these illustrations show? Okay, this picture shows different samples of our or different serum, different types of serum. Okay, this is the normal serum. This is lipemic serum. This is uh, ecteric serum. And this is hemolyzed serum. Okay, let me write so that you will remember. Okay, this is, what happened? Okay, this is our normal serum. Normal. Okay, this is lipemic. This is ecteric. And this is hemolyzed. Well, definitely you all know, guys, the reason why serum can be hemolyzed. Okay, so we'll skip on that. Now, how about if the serum is ecteric? Serum will appear ecteric, no, if and only if, no, there is a problem in bilirubin. Okay, in the discussion of liver function, we'll discuss about that. Now, the normal color of our serum is yellowish. No, the normal color of our serum is yellowish. Now, how about if the sample is lipemic or lipemia? Okay, lipemia occurs when serum triglycerides. Okay, so your sample will appear lipemic. Serum will appear lipemic if the triglyceride level is greater than 4.6 millimole per liter, or it is equal to 400 milligrams per deciliter. Okay? Our serum will appears or will be lipemic if the level of our triglycerides is greater than 4.6 millimoles per liter, or approximately 400 milligrams per deciliter. Okay. Now, if the sample is lipemic, it could lead into inhibition of our assays. No, for example, amylase. No, it can cause inhibition in the measurement of amylase, urates. Okay, we also have urea. Aside from that, we also have CK. We also have bilirubin, and of course, total protein. Okay? So lipemic sample is seen if the triglyceride level is greater than 4.6 millimoles, and lipemic sample can cause interference, no, inhibition in the assay of amylase, urates, urea, creatinine kinase, bilirubin, and total protein. Okay? Now, how about for our triglycerides? Now, remember, guys, that the measurement for triglycerides involves two general processes. And these two general processes includes our chemical or enzymatic. Ibig sabihin, the measurement of triglycerides can be done through chemical analysis or through enzymatic analysis. However, no, even though that they undergo chemical analysis or enzymatic analysis, the sample for triglyceride analysis must undergo the following general process. Ulitin ko, whether as you go to chemical analysis or you perform enzymatic analysis, your sample for triglycerides must undergo these two general procedures. Number one is the hydrolysis of triglycerides to form glycerol and free fatty acids. Okay? And number two, the measurement of the glycerol present. Ibig sabihin, first things first that you need to remember is you have to hydrolyze your sample, your serum, okay? So that there will be a splitting of our glycerol and our free fatty acids. Okay? Our agent will target the ester linkage between our glycerol and fatty acids. Okay? Ulitin natin, di ba? As we all know, triglycerides is a combination of glycerol as its backbone as well as three fatty acids. Okay? Glycerol is a alcohol and fatty acid is a carboxylic acid. Okay? And the combination of alcohol or the reaction between alcohol and carboxylic acid is what we call esterification. Therefore, it will produce an ester linkage. Okay? This ester linkage must be hydrolyzed. Okay? This ester linkage must be hydrolyzed through the help of our reagents in the chemical methods, or even in the enzymatic reaction. And that process is what we call hydrolysis. Again, why do we have to perform hydrolysis? The function or the purpose why do we have to perform hydrolysis is to separate our glycerol and our free fatty acids in the triglycerides. And the glycerol will be present. Okay? The glycerol present will be measured. Now, for chemical analysis of triglycerides, there are a lot of reagents that can be used for our hydrolysis. Hey, remember, since lipids are water insoluble, therefore, non-polar, no, lipids, no, lipids are water insoluble. Okay, lipids are water insoluble, thus it water is not recommended as its reagent. No, ibig sabihin, non-polar compounds are not recommended. Now, since nonpolar compounds are not recommended, polar solvents, no polar solvents such as alcohol, chloroform, and diethyl ether, although diethyl ether is nonpolar also, but even though this is a nonpolar, it can be a good uh, reagent for the hydrolysis of our triglycerides, of our fatty acids. Bakit po, sir? Kasi yung fatty acids po natin, mayroong mga unsaturated and saturated hydrocarbons, right? And the solubility of our saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons, or simply the solubility of our hydrocarbons, so sabi natin, likes dissolves likes. That's why even though this is a non-polar covalent bonds. No? Well, of course, our hydrocarbons are also non-polar. It can be a good hydrolysis agent or an reagent for the extraction of our lipids. Okay, so yeah, so hydrolysis is requires basic solution at a room temperature. This basic solution usually, no, we are going to use our potassium hydroxide or KOH in ethanol. Okay, okay. Hydrolysis requires basic solution at room temperature. That's why you don't need to apply heat, okay? Because our hydrolysis can occur even at room temperature. Uh, However, it is proven or it showed that increase in increase in temperature can enhance or can hasten the reaction. Now, take note that this potassium hydroxide in ethanol is the reagent in the breakdown of the ester linkage between the glycerol and the fatty acid. Okay, remember that the hydroxide ion present in the hydrolysis and the ethanol allows the material to remain in the solution. Now, what will happen in the excess ethanol? The excess ethanol also minimizes any reforming of the triglycerides. Okay, why? Because the free fatty acids present could react with the ethanol to form a new ester, leaving the glycerol molecules. Okay? Kumbaga, since our fatty acids reacts with alcohol such as glycerol, ang gagawin ni ethanol, i-inhibit niya yung pag-link ng ating mga fatty acids sa ating glycerol because what we're going to measure in the chemical analysis of our triglyceride is the glycerol. Okay? So parang ganito lang siya. 'Di ba? Uh, let me okay. Diba ang sabi natin, ang ating glycerol is diba? This is our triglycerides and the action of our reagents no is to break the linkage no, is to hydrolyze or break the ester linkage. So mabe-break po ito. What will happen is we'll have our glycerol. Okay? We have our glycerol. Since na-split ang ating ester linkage, we have our glycerol and we have the three fatty acids. Okay? We have the three fatty acids. Remember guys, no, yung pong ating hydroxide ions promotes the hydrolysis and the ethanol allows the material to remain in the solution. Now, what will happen to the excess ethanol? The excess ethanol, okay, our excess ethanol will have a esterification or magkakameron sila ng formation of triglycerides. I-inhibit niya yung action or yung bonding ng fatty acids at saka ng glycerol. Bakit i-inhibit yung action or bakit i-inhibit yung bonding ni fatty acids at saka ni glycerol? Kasi nga, si glycerol is the one that we are going to measure no, in the chemical method for triglyceride analysis. So, since this is an alcohol, no, this is an alcohol, at kapag nag-lose siya ng hydrogen, this oxygen no, will be the site of bonding ng ating fatty acid. Thus, it will give you your triglyceride. No? Ito yung magiging backbone na instead of our glycerol. Now, since that we leave glycerol molecules, then it is now ready for conversion, and applying a lower boiling point, no, can hasten or can make the reaction uh, rate of our hydrolysis enhances or ma-enhance yung ating reaction. Now, what will happen after the hydrolysis? After the hydrolysis, the glycerol present is oxidized to or by periodate ions. Ito yan. Oh, ito nga pala yan. Nakalimutan ko. Meron nga pala ako ditong ganito. So, ito yan. Ito yung ating triglycerides. May pag-drawing pa ako doon. Ito yung ating triglycerides, no? In the action of potassium hydroxide in ethanol, and heat has then the reaction, even though that the hydrolysis can occur into a room temperature, but application of heat can hasten the reaction. So there will be a formation of our glycerol and our fatty acids. Natatawa ako sa sarili ko. Ngayon, these fatty acids can also react, pwede pa siya mag-react ulit back to our glycerol. Pero, i-inhibit yun ni ethanol. Okay? Inhibit yun ni ethanol kasi bakit? Ito pong ating glycerol, ito po yung gagamitin natin for our measurement. Later, I will discuss that. Again, ito pong ethanol natin, yung excess ethanol po natin, dito po magbabind yung ating mga triglycerides since we have excess ethanol. And ethanol is an alcohol as same as our glycerol. Ano lang yung pinagkaiba ni ethanol kay glycerol, na tatlo po yung OH, tatlo yung hydroxyl group, no, present to our glycerol, at tatlong fatty acids sa mag-attach sa alcohol na ito. But since you only have here one hydroxyl group, isang fatty acid lang ang pwedeng mag-attach dito. But even though it can still lead into the formation of triglycerides. Now, going back, yung pong mga excess natin ng mga glycerol, what will happen? Okay? The glycerol present is oxidized by periodate ion. This is our periodate ion. And once this our glycerol, no, once this glycerol is oxidized by our periodate, no, once this glycerol is oxidized by periodate, what will happen? It will produce us, or it will give us, this is now your formaldehyde. Okay, this is now your formaldehyde or your methanol, and we have here another one, which is our methanoic acid. Okay, this is now our methanoic acid. Now the question is, why is it our glycerol formed, no, into formaldehyde and into our methanoic acid? So ganito lang yan, napakadali lang nangyari dyan. Bakit po siya naging ganan? No? Since na-oxidized siya, no, nagkaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na loss of hydrogen. No? Na-oxidized siya eh. At nagkaroon tayo ng loss of hydrogen. So, ito pong molecule ng glycerol na split into two. No? Na split into two. Yung isa, naging formaldehyde, at yung isa, naging methanoic acid. Next, this formaldehyde, ano po ang mangyayari dyan sa formaldehyde na yan? By the way, formaldehyde is the common name. Methanol is the IUPAC name. Methanoic acid is the IUPAC name. What will be the common name? Derived. No, take note. Trivia lang. Baka nalilimutan nyo na. No, trivia lang. Yung pong common names, the common names of our carboxylic acids are also derived from the common name of our aldehyde, since byproduct naman sila, no? So ano po yun? If this is formaldehyde, no, alisin lang natin yung aldehyde and palitan lang natin ng formic, ng omic, no? Ito na ngayon ay si formic acid. No? Ito na ngayon ay si formic acid. Okay? Formic acid, also known as our methanoic acid. Okay? So ulitin natin, ang nangyari, ang reaction natin, hinhydrolyze natin ang ating triglycerides in the presence of base, potassium hydroxide in presence of alcohol. So na-break into glycerol and two fatty acids. Si alcohol inhibit yung pag-bond ni fatty acid kay glycerol. Sa kanya nag-bind si fatty acid so that this fatty acid will be oxidized by the presence of peroiodate ion. Now, since may charge, do not forget the word ion. This peroiodate ion will oxidize our glycerol, forming formaldehyde and methanol. Okay? I'm sorry, formaldehyde and formic acid, or methanol and formic acid. Okay, this formaldehyde, no, this formaldehyde will act with our aceto or acetyl acetate, no, will react with our acetyl acetate. Okay, so what will happen after the reaction of acetyl acetate? It will now produce our cyclic products. Okay, now after the formaldehyde produce, okay, it will be combined with our reagents, no, to produce a colored product. And the absorption is read at 500 to 600 nanometers. 500 to 600 nanometers spectrophotometrically, no, which is a good area for the spectrophotometric assay since bilirubin and hemoglobin can interfere, no, in the result or in the analysis. Kasi yung bilirubin natin 540, no? Yung hemoglobin natin almost the same wavelength, no? So nire-reduce niya ang interference with our bilirubin and hemoglobin. Now, ano po yung mangyayari? Okay, there will be a formation of what we call color reaction, no? There will be a formation of our color reaction. Okay? Ano po yung reagents na ginagamit natin dito? We can use chromotropic acid or phenylhydrazine. Okay? We can use chromotropic acid. Else, and phenylhydrazine. What is the function or the function of this one? No, it has a wide application in the analysis of our triglycerides. Okay? So, what are the steps na nangyari? Now, yung una, that is the extraction of our triglycerides. Extraction of triglycerides is done in aqueous phase using alcohol or chloroform. No? Using alcohol or chloroform is what we call the extraction of our triglycerides. This reaction, itong reaction na to, this is the step B of the reaction. This is what we call the hydrolysis. So letter A, we have the extraction. Second step is we have the hydrolysis of triglycerides. The third reaction is this one. This is what we call the oxidation of glycerol. Ito tag parehas. And the last is the reaction with acetyl acetone. No? Acetyl acetone is this one. Okay? So ganun ang nangyayari in the reaction of our triglyceride analysis, particularly in chemical analysis. And I want you to take note that this reaction is also known as the Hunt reaction. I don't know if I pronounce it well, but the spelling is like this. Okay, this is what we call the Hansch reaction. Okay, so please remember this one. Well, like what I've said, no, triglyceride analysis is a combination. Triglyceride analysis is enzymatic or chemical. So natapos na natin si chemical. Now this time, what we're going to discuss is our enzymatic method for triglyceride analysis. However, gusto ko tandaan nyo pa din, kagaya ng sinabi natin in our introduction, even though that, no, even though that uh, it is an enzymatic, no, the measurement or the analysis for triglycerides involves the two processes. At ano yun? Hydrolysis and the uh, measurement of our glycerol. Okay? The glycerol, tandaan, di ko ata ito nabanggit kanina, tandaan, no? The measurement of glycerol present, no, is the end product, yun ang kailangan natin. And remember, this glycerol is either a product of conversion or after another conversion. Now, going back into our enzymatic method for triglyceride analysis, okay, there are 3 steps also that is involved. Ay kanina, madami, no? Meron kang extraction, hydrolysis, oxidation, and reaction with acetyl. This time, there are 3 processes involved in the enzymatic method for triglyceride analysis. But one thing is important, ano yung unang dapat gawin natin, no? Kailangan muna nating magkameron ng hydrolysis of our triglycerides, no? Now, remember people that this enzymatic method for triglyceride analysis is also known as the Bucalo-David method. Bucalo and David method. Okay? So ano po yung meron dito? The use of enzymes for the quantification of triglycerides allows one-step procedure which eliminates the extraction step. So kanina sa chemical, we have to extract before we hydrolyze. This time, no, there are only one step involved, which is what? We are going to eliminate the extraction and proceed immediately into the hydrolysis. Now, the hydrolysis of our triglycerides with strong bases is not necessary since one step can accomplish enzymatically. Ano na po yung gagawin natin? Glycerol formed from the breakdown of the triglycerides then reacts directly with an indicator system. Okay? With an indicator system. And this indicator system is no other than our enzymatic reactions. Take note guys that the actual product measured is either the NADH and the NAD+. Oh, wait lang sir, sabi mo kanina, what you are going to measure is the glycerol. Yes. Yung glycerol, even naman din dito, di ba? Even in even in chemical, hindi naman din talaga si glycerol yung naging end product natin. Kailangan nating i-extract, kailangan nating i-hydrolyze ang ating triglycerides so that makuha natin yung glycerol, and this glycerol will be oxidized into formaldehyde, and this formaldehyde, once formed, will react with our acetone so that it will react with chromogens such as chromotropic acid and phenylhydrazine in a spectrophotometric method at 500 to 600 nanometers to form a cyclic products. Ibig sabihin, yung pinaka-measure natin doon sa ating triglycerides is not the triglyceride molecule as a whole, but instead, yung ating glycerol. Dito ganun din. No? Yung glycerol from our, sana naiintindihan niyo ako, no? Yung glycerol natin from our triglycerides, yun yung i-measure natin in enzymatic through the help of our enzymes. Now, lipase, a pancreatic enzyme lipase, is employed in the hydrolysis of triglycerides, producing our glycerol-free fatty acids. Okay? So si lipase naman, ang kailangan dito, enzymatic. Eh, saan po nangyayari yun? Eh, yung lipase activity took place in our body. Wala naman tayong kailangang lipase na gamitin pa sa pag-method na ito, no? No, gawin ba? So, meron na tayo ng free glycerol through the help of our lipase. What will happen? Okay? Ano po yung mangyayari? Now, after the producing of glycerol or free fatty glycerol, no, free from fatty acids, no, an excess enzyme must be employed to achieve the complete breakdown of all ester linkages. Okay? So our glycerol plus our ATP, no, plus our ATP in reaction with our enzyme, no, a enzyme such as our glycerol kinase, no, will produce our glycerol 3-phosphate plus ADP. Now, what will happen? No, what will happen is our ADP plus our phosphoenol pyruvate, no, in reaction with our pyruvate kinase, no, in reaction with our pyruvate kinase, okay, undergoes reaction producing our pyruvate, okay, producing our pyruvate. Now, what will happen? The pyruvate produced, no, the pyruvate produced will react with our NADH. And the reaction of our pyruvate and our NADH plus our hydrogen is catalyzed by the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase so that it will form lactate and NAD+. Okay? And this NAD+ will be measured spectrophotomically through the absorbance of 340 nanometers, okay, indicating the extent of our reaction. Okay? So that is the enzymatic reaction, no, for our triglyceride analysis. Now remember guys, with enzymatic methods, correction of free glycerol is easily accomplished by running the second sample through analysis without performing hydrolysis step. I'm sorry, but eliminating, yun na nga. But eliminating the hydrolysis step. Okay? Remember, no, tandaan natin that this process is rather a time-consuming and reagents are expensive. So, laboratories do not make effort to correct the free glycerol. Siyempre, time-consuming. You have to release the result right after the test. Ito yung mga dahilan, guys, kung bakit matagal ang running time ng chemistry because of the reactions. Okay? Now, for triglyceride reference, I want you to take note of this. No, the normal or the ideal is less than 150 milligrams per deciliter or a range at 60 to 150 milligrams per deciliter, which is equivalent to 0.7 to 1.17. Ano nga yung conversion factor natin? No? Ang conversion factor natin ay 0.0113. Very good, ang galing. No? 0.0113. Tanda pa kaya? Naku, patay. Meron pa tayong mga cholesterol at HDL, LDL. Paano kaya yun? Pag di na kinilimutan, yung conversion factor nga ng glucose, di na natandaan. Kaya nga inuna kasi mahalaga. Huwag kalilimutan. Okay? So borderline, no, 150 to 199, high level of triglycerides is seen at 200 to 499 milligrams per deciliter, and high levels of triglycerides is seen at 500 milligrams per deciliter. Okay? How about for cholesterol? Sabi ko kanina, no, in my introduction, cholesterol and triglyceride analysis, no, both of them ay mayroong chemical and enzymatic methods. Okay? So, in the case of cholesterol, the same thing as triglycerides. So, meron tayong chemical and enzymatic methods. Okay? However, yung chemical method suffers accuracy and specificity for cholesterol. While for our enzymatic, reliable, accuracy, no, mataas ang accuracy, mas safe. Bakit mas safe? Kasi wala ka ng chemicals na kakamitin. Nandun na yun sa machine mo, enzymatically. However, the problem is, mas mahal ang enzymatic reaction of our cholesterol. Ngayon, sa tingin nyo, sino gagamitin ng mga hospital sa panahong ito? No? Mga hospital naman natin, our hospital, our laboratories is not after the welfare of their patient, but they are after the income of the hospital. That's the sad reality. Hospital nowadays are not after the welfare of the student, not the welfare of the patient, but rather they are after the income of the hospital. That's why sometimes the machine in the laboratory are not that good. Not good machine will give you not good result. Not good result will lead into not good medication. Not good medication will not lead to not good management. Not good management can lead into death. As simple as that. Okay? So going back, the chemical methods, yung sinasabi ko kanina, the chemical methods ay more on reliability, accuracy, and safety. Now, remember guys that the analysis of total cholesterol is complicated by the presence of two forms of molecules, cholesterol that circulates and our free cholesterol, no? Which is our free steroid in the esterified form. Now, the esterified form represents approximately 2/3. No? The esterified form of our cholesterol represents 2/3 of the total cholesterol that circulates into the circulation, into the body, syempre. Okay? Now, in cholesterol, no, colorimetric reaction, no, cholesterol and esters gives a greater color intensity than the same amount of free cholesterol. Okay, so let's discuss the chemical methods of cholesterol. Remember, like what I've said a while ago, colorimetric procedures for the quantification of serum cholesterol follows a rather simple, although a wide variety of specific methods for our cholesterol analysis or for our serum cholesterol analysis. Well, the simplest approach is the one-step approach or the one-step method, direct method approach. And that one-step direct method approach is known as our Lieberman-Burchard method. Okay? The Lieberman-Burchard method is the one-step direct method for our serum cholesterol analysis for our chemical analysis. It uses sulfuric acid, no, and acetic anhydride to oxidize our products, which will be absorbed spectrophotomically by 410 nanometers. Now take note guys that the strong acid combination removes the hydroxyl group in our cholesterol. Nasaan ba yung hydroxyl group sa cholesterol natin? Babalik lang po ako saglit doon sa ating cholesterol, ha? Para po inyong natatandaan. Yan. Nasaan po yung hydroxide natin ere? Yan yung OH, hydroxide. Now, anong gagawin ng strong acid? Itong hydroxide ng ating cholesterol ay gagawin niyang ano? No? Gagawin niyang ketone. Okay? Remember that the strong acid removes the hydroxyl group and introduce another double bond with the steroid ring. Or sometimes, ginagawa niyang ketone. Ngayon, if it binds with another steroid ring, ano po yung mangyayari? There will be an increase in the color or there is what we call color intensity. However, other constituents of our blood such as bilirubin and hemoglobin, kagaya nung kay triglycerides, can be also absorbed. That's why, balik na tayo doon kay triglycerides, cholesterol measurement. Cholesterol. Yeah. That's why no high levels of our hemoglobin and bilirubin can also can cause interference. It can lead into false elevated level of our cholesterol. Now, turbidity can also produce, excuse me, turbidity can also produce interference, yeah? As this can also be absorbed in the method. Okay? Now, another step or another one-step method is what we call the Abel-Kendall method. Ano naman yung meron kay Abel-Kendall method? In Abel-Kendall method, no, an initial extraction of our uh, lipid, no, with our zeolite. Zeolite, no, removes all forms of our cholesterol from the system, leaving them with sterols. Now, what will happen? No, the resolving cholesterol and the esters are hydrolyzed, and then the total cholesterol is now measured. Okay, remember that in the precipitation, no, it separates the esterified from free cholesterol, permitting the measurement of only free cholesterol. No? In Abel-Kendall, no, ano lang yung method natin, ano lang yung measure natin dito? Yung free fraction of the cholesterol. Now, take note, guys, that the clinical utility of the data obtained by this approach has not yet been clearly demonstrated. Okay? So those are the two chemical methods for the analysis of our cholesterol. Now, aside from that, we also have our enzymatic method for cholesterol analysis. Ngayon, to the problem or the good thing about the good thing about enzymatic method is it lessened the problem associated in the esterification of our sterols. Okay? Remember that in enzymatic method, no, in the enzymatic method of our cholesterol, ano yung meron dito? The cholesterol esters followed by the enzymatic conversion of cholesterol. No, ibig sabihin, the action of the enzymes will take place into the conversion of our cholesterol. Number 1 or step letter A. Ano yung mangyayari sa initial step? No? On the initial step, this process involves what we call the hydrolysis of cholesterol esters. Teka lang, sir. Nakatani ka meron ng cholesterol esters. Yung cholesterol esters mo nga nagkameron because of what we call the enzymatic reaction. Aside from that, bakit? Nagkameron po tayo ng conversion ng cholesterol natin. Yung ating OH. No? So going back, sinasabi natin. Okay? So going back. Cholesterol esters na hydrolyze. No? The initial step involves the hydrolysis of our cholesterol esters. No? It will be hydrolyzed through the help of the enzyme cholesterol esterase. Okay? Take note, guys, that this will not affect any other analytes in the procedure or in the sample. Bakit? Because this is an enzyme. And since this is an enzyme, that is specific, not for cholesterol esters. Okay? So cholesterol esters will hydrolyze cholesterol ester into cholesterol and fatty acids. Okay? Will hydrolyze cholesterol esters into cholesterol and fatty acids. Now this fatty acid, this cholesterol rather, no, this cholesterol is what we call the free cholesterol. Okay? This is what we call the free cholesterol. Ngayon, ano naman ang sunod na mangyayari? In the formation of free cholesterol, the sterol ester should not be affected. Okay? Next, what will happen? After the hydrolysis, ano yung mangyayari sa free cholesterol natin? The free cholesterol will react in the presence of our oxygen, and there will be what we call conversion of our cholesterol to cholesterol in pre-O, which is a ketone because of this one, no? Which is a ketone. The conversion of cholesterol, no? The conversion of cholesterol to ketone is possible through because of our enzyme oxidase, no? Cholesterol as oxidase, which, no? Which will produce, no, our cholesterol enone, trienone or ketone plus our hydrogen peroxide. No, ketone na ito. Sir, bakit yan naman naging ketone ang ating cholesterol? Ano ba naman ang nangyayaring yan? Organic chemistry yan. No? Yung cholesterol natin, nag-undergo ng tinatawag nating conversion. At ang conversion na ito ay tinatawag nating oxidation. Kapag nag-oxidation ka, nag-lose ka ng hydrogen, nag-gain ka ng oxygen. Eh kung nag-lose ng hydrogen, no? Eh may OH ang ating cholesterol, diga, doon sa kanyang ring form. Nag-lose siya ng hydrogen. No, nag-lose yung hydroxyl group natin. Okay, itong carbon na ito, meron siyang nawawalang electron. So mag-gain siya ng oxygen forming two bonds with oxygen. Eh kapag ganito, carbon double bond with oxygen at the middle of the chain, that is our ketone. Nakaw, no? That is our ketone. Eh sir, ano po yung nangyari doon sa ating na-lose na hydrogen? Doon sa na-lose nating hydroxide, magre-react siya with our excess oxygen forming your hydrogen peroxide. Okay? Forming our hydrogen peroxide. Now, this hydrogen peroxide will undergo what we call reduction oxidation reaction. Redox. Why? Because our hydrogen peroxide will be oxidized. Oh, wait lang, sir. Ano naman yung mga pinagsasasabi mo? Our hydrogen peroxide will be oxidized by our reducing agent, which is our indicator dye. Okay? Through the help of the enzyme peroxidase. Okay? Ang ating hydrogen peroxide ay ma-oxidize through the help of our enzyme peroxidase. So the reaction, no, the redox reaction between hydrogen peroxide and the indicator is possible or hastened because of our enzyme peroxidase. Na-reduce ang ating hydrogen peroxide, na-oxidized ang ating hydrogen peroxide, na-reduce ang ating indicator, giving us what we call colorimetric analysis. Okay? The color compound can be detected spectroscopically, and that is our enzymatic method for cholesterol analysis. Now, the reference range are as follows. Normal, less than 200, or the range is for 140 to 200. Borderline of cholesterol 200 to 239. High, greater than 240. Conversion factor to convert it into millimoles per liter, 0.0259. Yung iba ang sabi 0.02586. Yung iba naman ang sabi 0.026. At the end of the day, yun din naman ang lalabas dyan. Pero for uniformity, we're going to use this one, 0.0259. All right. Now we have here the Fredrickson classification of lipoprotein patterns. According to Fredrickson classification of lipoprotein patterns, ito po yung mga problem, ito po yung mga tinatawag nating dyslipidemias. Mga sakit, no? Mga dyslipidemias natin, no? And these are the parameters, no? These are the parameters at anong level nila sa type 1. According to Fredrickson classification of lipoprotein problem, yung type 1, type 2 daw, pwedeng type 2A, pwedeng type 2B. Ano ba yan? Parang type 2 non-inflammatory, type 2 inflammatory ng synovial. No? Isang immunologic at isang crystal-induced. Uy, natatandaan pa ba yan? No? So yung type 2 daw, ganun din. Type 2A and type 2B. Okay, so these are the levels of what we call the types of dyslipidemias. So ito yan, no? Type 1A, ito daw ay kilala sa tawag na hyperchylomicronemia. Bakit siya tinawag na hyperchylomicronemia? Because anong increase na lipoprotein sa kanya? Chylomicrons. Guys, tandaan to ha, tandaan to. No? Ano daw yung increased lipid sa type 1? Triglycerides. Ano yung type 1? Hyperchylomicronemia. Type 2A, this is our familial cholesterolinemia. Ano ba yan? Parang hindi teacher. Hypercholesterolemia. Ano naman yung problema dito? Mataas ang ating cholesterol. Ano po yung lipoprotein na mataas? Is our LDL. Okay? Okay? So, type 2A is our familial hypercholesterolemia. At ano po yung mataas dito? We have increase in LDL and increase in our cholesterol. Type 2B, familial combined hypercholesterolemia. No? Familial combined. Bakit? Ano po yung mataas dito? VLDL and LDL lipoproteins. At ano po yung lipid fraction na mataas? Triglycerides and cholesterol. Kaya siya ay tinawag na familial combined. Type 3 is we have this beta lipoproteinemia. Ano po yung mataas dito? IDL, no? We also have our chylomicrons remnants and our triglycerides and cholesterol. Type 4, familial hypertriglyceridemia. Ano mataas? VLDL and of course, triglycerides. Type 5, familial lipoprotein lipase deficiency, no? VLDL and chylomicrons. Ano mataas? Na lipid fraction, triglyceride, and cholesterol. So ito yan, at ito po yung ating summary. Okay? Now, how about for HDL cholesterol reference range? Take note, people, that our HDL is referred as our good cholesterol. No? Kaya ang mataas na level ng ating HDL, okay lang. Yung mababang level ng ating HDL, problema. Tandaan, if your HDL is lower than 40 or lower than 1 millimoles per deciliter, 1 millimole per liter, you have the greater risk for heart disease. Okay? LDL is the other way around. No? LDL, cholesterol, no, the normal is 150 to 130. At very high level is greater than or equal to 190. Since LDL and HDL are both cholesterol, no, ano po ang conversion factor nila at the same time as our cholesterol. Okay, so we have here the NCEP, no, the NCEP guideline for acceptable measurement of error. and this is according to Henry's, no? The total cholesterol, ito po yung kanyang coefficient of variation, no? Yung precision niya, 3%, 4%, no? Ito yung SD. And for LDL, no? 4, for triglycerides, 5. Ito ay isang female, ito ay isang male. Mas mataas ang HDL level ng female kaysa sa male. That's why, o mamaya, sasabihin ko din, no, that's why they found out, no, that mas madami yung cases ng coronary heart disease sa mga lalaki among sa babae dahil po mababa ang level ng HDL ng mga lalaki. Okay? So just nice to know, no, LDL contains cholesterol that is not present in HDL or VLDL. Thus, LDL can be determined using total cholesterol minus HDL minus TAG over 2.175. Okay? 2.175 is constant. Now, VLDL carries most plasma triglycerides, and can be estimated using VLDL minus VLDL is equals to TAG over 2.175. And remember, cholesterol may be assayed from non-fasting sample and has a little effect on the total cholesterol. Okay, thank you very much. And I hope that you learn a lot in the analysis of our lipids. So stay tuned for the next part, which is part 3.